So what do you make of the president's statement about the judiciary yesterday?
The statement by the president in relation to the judiciary and defying court orders, in my view, was both reckless and dangerous. The Constitution of Kenya lays out clearly, in clear terms, the system of checks and balances. And it's not upon the president to cherry pick which decisions he's going to defy and which ones he's not going to defy. There's a clear procedure for overturning even decisions which are purportedly obtained through fraud or corrupt practices. Or the other alternative is to use the Judicial Service Commission, in which the president has representatives, and he can cause a judge to be taken through a tribunal for a decision to be made on that question of corruption, whether the decisions a judge is making is against the law. And on top of it, he can make a report to the appropriate officers, including the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, to the Inspector General of Police, if a judge indeed has been bribed. These are all the tools the president could use, but he cannot say that he is going to defy a judicial decision. So long as that judicial decision is not overturned, is part of the law of the land. And I think of all the statements the president has made, this is the most dangerous, is the most reckless, is undermining the Constitution and the sovereign power of the people, because judicial authority is delegated to the executive, to the courts. And the judiciary does not share the judicial authority with the President of the Republic of Kenya. And therefore, if this matter is not dealt with appropriately and put it in its rightful place, it can cause anarchy. You remember in Uganda, across here in Uganda, a whole Chief Justice was assassinated, Kiwanuka, because the president in that country did not like the decisions that he was making. In a country called, in southern Africa, called Lesotho, there was an election. And the Prime Minister then, Chief Lebois, said, yes, there's been an election. I disagree. I'm not going anywhere. So he defied an entire electoral process. Me, I have had the privilege of defending a judicial officer, the Deputy Chief Justice of Kenya, in a matter in which she was framed out of annoyance from the decision she had made, sitting in electoral court, the presidential petition for the elections held in 2017. And again, we're not saying the previous regime was any better. We had some of the most brilliant judges, like Odinga, like Ngugi, whose appointments were not affected, purportedly because they were certain reports about their conduct, which was unproven. The president has his representatives in the Judicial Service Commission, and no lesser office sits in that commission but the Attorney General. They are representatives from the parliamentary, from the Public Service Commission, and other bodies which can deal with the questions that the president is raising. But I think it's most unfortunate, knowing that what we have fought for was to secure the independence of the judiciary. Above all, the Constitution requires the president specifically to ensure the promotion of the rule of law. The Constitution requires of the president, as part of his functions, to defend and protect the Constitution. Now, the language the president is using, obviously, is outside the realm of the Constitution. No president speaking in a system where there's a system of checks and balances where executive authority is limited. And I think that should be understood, that executive power is limited by law. There are things he cannot do. And if he does anything that does not fall within the realm of his powers, including defying court orders, abrogating the Constitution, violating the Constitution, those attract punishment and penal sanctions that the president must be taken through. He is not above the law. So this place is a place we have been to. The whole struggle for second liberation, one of the pillars, key pillars we were fighting for, was to ensure that we have an independent judiciary. So these comments were unfortunate and should not have been made. It undermines the authority of all institutions, because if there's no rule of law, if the president can cherry pick which court orders to obey and which ones not to obey, then we are living in a very unsafe place. And this cannot be allowed under any circumstances. Erokamano, nyoro jatend piny owacho ni buche miyalo od bura kokal e yo mok ohero, to en onyalo dhi adhiya nyime otimo gima odwaro. Ma en gima ok owinjore kendo ok en kare kata matin. Jatend piny ni obende en e bwo chik. Katiba ma wan go e Kenya dwaro ni ute bura oti maonge gimoro mawuok kuom migawo moro, kata obed bunge, kata obed kata obed bunge, kata obed executive, manyalo donjo e weche ma od bura kata doho maduong' okalo, kata doho obed matin machalo nade. Omiyo jatend piny dwokowa kama ne wantie chon, to ma ok wanyal yie kata matin, nikech obe en e bwo chik. Ka nitie gima doho kalo, nitie yore mang'eny kiyudo ni doho nokalo gimoro, to mita jatend doho oyudo kata minyonge moro mokonego oyudi, kata nitie mibadhi moro. Nitie yore mang'eny ma wachno inyalo luwogo. Mokwongo, jatend doho no inyalo make. Mar ariyo, inyalo tere bwo Judicial Service Commission, kata bende ko ter complaint mare yo makare, kata ywak yo makare, to pod inyalo keto tribunal mayalo wachne migole kaka nyiso nogol judge ma High Court miluongo ni Mutembei. Omiyo wachni ok en wach matin. En gima nyalo miyo piny nyime kanyo bed kama tek moko winjore. To magi waseneno ndalo moko kanyo, kata jotelo manokalo ne wacho ni gin gi teko magi nyalo timo gima mwadwaro. Ndalo KANU ne nitie kata ndalo moko manowach ni president nyalo riembo judge sa asaya modwaro. Mama ne achiel kuom gik manokelo tabu e pinyni, momiyo ji nodhi oko kawacho ni wan wadwaro judges kata magistrates man gi security of tenure, ma ka yalo gimoro to giyalo ka gin thuolo. Omiyo mae wadagi kendo ok wayiego kata matin. Gima aneno ni gini nyalo kelo gima iluongo ni anarchy e piny. To mar ariyo be nyiso ni kopogore gi joma osebedo gi buche mopogore opogore e doho mowuok mo owacho ni kata ong'ad bura marach, to mano e chik. To mare ni nyiso ni koro ka en gi teko, to higni mabiro, kata ka Electoral Commission owacho ni oyombe, kata ka doho maduong' owacho ni ok noyiere kare kata noyombe, to onyalo wacho kaka Chief Lebwa Jonathan ma Lesotho nowacho ne en dwoko mar Electoral Commission kata mar doho ok oluwo, en oluwo gimodwaro. Omiyo ma ok en gima kare e piny mwadwaro mondo obedie Kenya kae. Sawa sawa.
too hot.